Welcome to AI Horror Stories. Prepare to be chilled. Subscribe now and hit that notification bell for daily doses of AI-generated fright. Story is when death knocks on your door. Let's begin. The day my life changed was the day I met him. I felt emotions I had never felt before, and shouldn't have been able to feel. But with him, it was different. I'm no ordinary girl. No, in fact I'm far from it. I don't live in an ordinary place. I'm far from ordinary. I don't even think someone like me can be classed as normal. I know I'll never be a normal teenage girl. How do I know this? I know because staring right back at me is two ruby red eyes. Sighing, I look at my reflection in the mirror. Even down here in the underworld, I'm not considered normal. A demigod training as a reaper is unusual, I suppose. I'm almost certain one of the reasons I'm strange is my eyes. Reapers are born with natural dark red irises. Very similar to vampires, however, a reaper's eyes hold the specks of death, meaning small black specks are littered throughout the deep red. My eyes have these specks, but they don't have the dark color. Instead, my eyes represent the color of love. Rumors have been spread around the underworld that my eyes are what makes me dangerous. Despite being the daughter of death himself, being a demigod is also classed as lethal. We don't have the pressure of rules, in fact we can leave whenever we please. Demigods possess a free spirit as well as the powers of a god. However, I struggle to stray from my duty. In fact, I love it, and this love is exactly what defines me as far from normal. A normal 16-year-old girl would be at school studying hard to get the grade she wants in order to get that dream job she wishes. My future is already set out. Despite physically having a free soul, my choices are defined. But I don't let this stop me. No, I embrace it. The obstacles that stand in my way don't bother me. I know my destiny is to one day be the successor of my father. I know one day I will rule the underworld, and that's what makes me, well, me. Raven Rouge Reaper, am dedicated to the death cycle, and nothing can stand in my way. Snapping out of my thoughts, I comb my long silky black locks while looking in my mirror. My skin is as pale as snow today. Pale skin was considered intimidating in the underworld, and I love it when people look at me with fear in their eyes. It made me feel remotely normal. Walking towards my dresser, I grab my favorite outfit, putting on my black ruffled trimmed dress. I grab my black, silk hooded cloak and drape it around my shoulders, masking my face. I am the daughter of death, so naturally one would mask their face as the Grim Reaper does, as cliché as it may be. I walk out of my chambers, heading towards the throne room where I find the Grim Reaper. There he was, summoning reapers and ghouls for their daily duties. "Ah, Raven," my father exclaims, greeting me as I enter the large room. Statues are scattered along the back wall of the room, each representing something different. The very first statue in the room is one labeled, Despair. The statue was modeled like a human crying out their despair to represent the loss of someone or the loss of their own life. Reapers were very familiar with this emotion when soul collecting. Not that I take much notice of it. In fact, I find it quite tedious. Why cry over something you can't change? Humans aren't all stupid after all, they know what death is. They even know who the Grim Reaper is, so why cry over the inevitable? I'll never understand humans. The second statue is labeled Execution. This statue had two beings in, one being a human hunched over the other a reaper holding their scythe up high above the human's body. The execution was representing the process of ending the human's life. Personally, my favorite part of the job. I find it so invigorating being able to fulfill what a reaper should. It makes me feel, well, normal. Like I belong in the death cycle. The third statue is labeled Attain. This statue showed the reaper taking the human soul out of the body, therefore attaining it. Arguably the most annoying part of being a reaper. Some souls fight against us, and honestly that doesn't help them when being judged. After all, they either end up wandering the plains of the underworld or ascend to greater, or worse, things in the afterlife. The fourth statue is named Taken. It represented the point where a reaper would then lead a soul away from earth, meaning it was taken away from human and being led to their new dwelling place. Best part of collecting a soul is leaving it. As I've mentioned, some souls can be annoying. You'd be surprised how many have tried flirting with me, even when they know they're a dead man. Women too. The fifth and final statue was created to represent honor. This is where the reaper handed in the soul and was respected throughout the underworld by completing their duty. Honor is what I bask in. It's what shows that I am a reaper, and a good one at that. No one can argue against a good day's work, especially when I reach my quota before anyone else. Not to brag, but I am the best of the best. These 5 statues were the 5 things every reaper had to complete in order to finish the day's work. But it just ain't enough for me. I feel like something is missing in my life, but what could that possibly be? Glancing away from the statues, I began to walk towards my beloved father. Morning Father, I curtsy to him, showing my respect. He is the god of death, and even though I am also a demi-god of death, I must show my appreciation towards him. Don't be formal with me, you are the princess of the underworld, act like it, my father exclaims to me. I simply nod. Everyone in the throne room turns to stare at me. Not to be egotistical, but my beauty is such a rare sight that even a glimpse would send your heart fluttering. This is why most of my soul collecting duties are towards men, as just the sight of me makes them follow my every order, and I enjoyed manipulating them. I've been collecting souls since I was quite young. Of course I couldn't manipulate men at a young age. I was mostly tasked with collecting children's souls back then. I have never hesitated in collecting a soul. I simply swish my scythe in the air and the soul meekly follows me to the underworld. I've never wanted more in life. My duty is everything. It is all I care about. Many reapers don't have a choice but to collect souls, however I enjoy it. One day I will be the one to take over the throne in the underworld, and when I do, I will become most grateful. Becoming the ruler of the underworld is such an honor. Of course, someone I know didn't want this honor and left the underworld. I haven't seen this person for 2 years, and if they ever cross my path again, they will certainly regret it. I hold no mercy to the people that betray me. To this day, only one person has betrayed me, and no one is stupid enough to follow in their footsteps. They all fear me too much, which is why I'm the best at my job. What can I say? I love being a reaper. Now Raven, my dear, I have a job for you today. I want you to go after a boy named Luke Smith. He lives on the outskirts of New York. Think you could manage? I'd love to, Father. I walk towards my bone-ridden throne and grab my ruby scythe. Lifting it high into the air, I fling it onto the ground, causing a black cloud to surround my body. Soon I find myself in New York. Now the best part, cloud to surround my body. Soon I find myself in New York. Now the best part about being a reaper was no one except the person chosen to die could see me. I scoured the streets until I bumped into Angel Gabriel. Gabe is a friend of mine. He was named after the original angel Gabriel, as his parents wanted him to be as good as the best angel in heaven. He is captain of the heavenly guard. On duty, Raven? He asks me. I nod. Gabriel and I were once friends before he turned towards the gates of heaven, he becoming an angel of God. Whilst I followed in my father's footsteps, becoming an angel of death. I never call myself that. I am named after the bird of death, therefore I am a reaper. So whose unlucky soul are you collecting today? Gabriel asks me. A boy named Luke Smith, I state simply. Gabe looks at me, his eyes full of surprise. Oh, I know him. I'm surprised Grim wanted his soul, he says, scratching the back of his head as if he was hiding something from me. If my father wants his soul, I shall collect it, I beam, looking at the nervous expression on his face. Well, you sure he meant that, Luke? Did you get the surname wrong? He asks, starting to stutter on his words. Why, what's wrong with Luke Smith? I demand. I can tell he's not telling me something about the boy's soul. He's a hybrid, he says, looking away from me. I see. Hybrids are what we call humans that change from good to bad to good, etc. We don't normally collect these souls as they are hard to see which category they belong in. Well, there must be something in his soul that my father wants, I shrug. I see, and he sent you to manipulate him, I nod. Gabe knows me too well. Hold that thought, I say, sensing a demon's presence. As a reaper, we work very close to demons and ghouls, however they do have their own duty to collect condemned souls and take them to hell where Satan dwells. Satan's son was Leonardo, and he works very close with me. Now if you're confused, I'll go through the death cycle. Angels collect the souls of those who are good once their life has ended. Demons collect the souls of those who have been cursed down to hell, and us reapers reap the souls of the living, taking away their life if fate has decided their time has come. I loved reaping the souls of the living, it always fulfilled me somehow. From around the corner, Leo popped his head in. Oh, look who it is. My two most favorite people in the world, Leo says, coming in between the two of us. Quit it, Leo, Gabriel moans. Leo can be very annoying from time to time, which is surprising considering he is a demon. Ah, come on, at least let me see Raven smile. I shake my head viciously. A reaper does not smile unless it is for a devious reason such as scaring someone. Let's just say when a reaper shows somewhat of a smirk, it isn't good. I'm on duty, I mutter. You're always on duty, he moans, slumping on the spot. That's normally what you do when you're sent to Earth, Leo, Gabriel says, defending me. Well, what are you doing then, angel boy? Leo asks. I'm on a break, Gabe says, leaning against a brick wall. Ugh, Raven never takes breaks, Leo says, glancing towards me. Because I hate Earth, I moan. Why would I take a break in a place I hate? Begin to walk away. Hey Raven, Leo calls after me. I freeze on the spot. Yes. I say, turning around. Wanna hang out later with me and Gabe, he asks, gesturing that he and Gabe would like to hang out. Grin mischievously. What are the chances that I get your soul? I say, knowing the answer already. Aw, come on Raven, you know demons don't have souls, Leo says, looking at me with a confused look. Exactly, I say as I begin to walk away once he realized what I meant. I began searching the streets of New York for this Luke guy. I'd never had this much trouble trying to locate someone, it was almost like he was hiding. I walk around for another half hour until I come across a dark alleyway. Down there I hear panting. I begin walking down there and I soon see a boy slumped against the wall. He turns his head and looks straight at me. It was Luke. Whoa, goth girl much? He chuckles. I narrow my eyes on him, he couldn't see it though due to the hood. I begin leaning on my ruby scythe. Is it Halloween already, Mrs. Grim Reaper? I laugh at this. I was the Grim Reaper's daughter after all. Luke, I say in calm voice. His eyes widen once I say this. Oh, please don't tell me you met me in Vegas, I can't handle another one, I shake my head. I told you sometimes they can be good and sometimes they can be bad. This young man seems to see a lot of ladies in Vegas. I am here on another accord, I say, staring into his blue eyes. Are you British? He asks me. I shake my head. Your accent pretty much says it all, Luke scoffs as if he knows everything. Reapers just talk how they want to, perhaps this is why I sound British. I never really put much thought into it. My father sounds this way, however Gabe and Leo don't. I guess I picked it up within the more souls I collected. I did spend a lot of time in London collecting souls of people about to die from drowning in the Thames or people falling too drunk on the streets. I need you to come with me, I say stubbornly. Now normally if a girl wants me to go somewhere with them, I need to bring a little protection, he says, chuckling once again. His matter didn't surprise me. He thought I was leading him on. Although I would like to see your face, he says, looking at the hood. A smile appears on my face. He wouldn't be able to touch me, so my identity was pretty much secure. He begins walking towards me and places his hands on the brim of my hood. His hands should have gone right through that. What's going on? He soon pulled the hood down to my shoulders and I immediately covered my eyes. Hey, don't cover your eyes, I need to see them, he says. He was going to die, I suppose I could show him. Slowly, I removed my hands and closed my eyelids. I lifted my head, then opened my eyes, staring at him. He slowly began backing away. You're a reaper, he says, backing into the wall. How did he know that? Mortals don't know they exist. How do you know that? I exclaim. He didn't answer. Instead, he began to run. I hate it when they think they can escape, I mutter. Taking hold of my ruby scythe, I slam it into the floor, creating an invisible wall around all escape routes. Luke came crashing into one and fell to his knees. I can't die, please, I can't. They all say that, I say as I take a step towards him. I lift my scythe into the air, ready to collect his soul, when someone jumps down from the building, in between the invisible walls I created. This person had watched the whole scene unfold. As I swing my scythe, a blonde-haired boy stood in front of Luke and let his soul be claimed. I stumble back as I realize what had happened. This boy was certainly something. My invisible walls began to disappear. Luke rose from the ground. I know this isn't over, and I know you took someone else's soul. But please give me time. He began to leave. I was amazed by everything he said. Oh, and one more thing, Raven, he said, turning to face me. He knew my name. You won't be taking my soul, and with that, he walked off down the street. I stand up and grab my ruby scythe. Father wasn't going to be happy, that I was certain of. I look at my reflection through a shop window. He knew I was a reaper. Perhaps it was my ruby eyes that gave it away. Or was it my pitch black hair? And how did he know my name? I knew I'd have to encounter him again, so for now, I would put up with the questions and return to the underworld. I pulled my hood over my head once again and returned home. Luke Smith has escaped death's grasp, but for how long? Prepare for an epic showdown in the next episode. Raven is hunting Luke Smith, and he's playing a game he doesn't understand. The stakes are higher than ever before. Don't miss the next episode.